What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight's... Okay, making their debut on the channel tonight, we have Helmet. Yes, indeed. How about that? Helmet making their debut on the channel. This is a request from Firdaus, and this is actually Firdaus's prioritized request for the month of May for being a silver tier member on the Patreon page. So here you go, Firdaus. Hope you enjoy the show. Firdaus wanted to see me react to this song by Helmet called Turned Out. Now, have I heard the song before? No, I have not. To the best of my knowledge, this does not resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. However, there's always a possibility I may have heard the song in passing and I just don't realize it. So as always, if I start listening to the song and I suddenly go, wait a minute, I recognize this, I'll let you know.
That's the truth. You
know me, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This was posted by Helmet Topic, okay? And the video has 155,058 views. It'll get you there. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. Alright, here we go. Turned Out. That's all I got. But I do have this. I believe this is an album cover. It looks like an album cover. It says Helmet. So hopefully we're in the right place. Look, this is the link I was given. So hopefully we're in the right spot. Alright, let's do this.
Alright, boy, let's do this!
Come on, Chris! Play up to the city! Clean and smooth! Right down to the minute! You need to hear! But your life is rough! Speaking out and cold! But you had enough! You know how to live! And your heart's not by! Substance rush! Give it all a try! Wretched squat! And burn to the ground! Pass the buck! Never utter a sound! High times! Downtown! To the ground!
I'm almost positive that we're staying in 4-4 the whole time. The subdivisions, I'm not going to lie, they are throwing me off a little bit. But if I'm not mistaken, we have not left 4-4 once. But because of the subdivisions, it almost feels like, I don't know, it almost feels like 15, 16 time almost. It feels like we're jumping into the next measure just like an eighth note ahead of schedule, but we're not. We're not. I'm almost positive we're still in 4-4. Those subdivisions, man, they're impressive. They are very impressive. I dig them. I could see how a lot of people would think it's a little distracting. I could see how people would think that. I like them. And even I'm like, it's a little, it's throwing me off a little bit. So I can see how a lot of people would be kind of turned off by that, but I'm not turned off by it at all. I dig it. So anyway, let's keep going here.
Hard times, downtown to you turned out, wasting time, need a escape me. Mr. Right.
Okay, so yeah, this whole section, the whole last minute and a half that we listened to, it was all just straight ahead 4/4. No crazy subdivisions, nothing out of the wheelhouse. It's just very straight ahead, and it got a lot easier to groove to. If I'm not mistaken, I'm sure a lot of people will think that way too. But if I'm being completely honest here, guys, it does feel better with just that straight ahead groove. It does. Don't get me wrong, I can always appreciate good subdivision work. I can, but if you want to just get a nice solid groove, you want to go with something a little simpler, and they definitely did here. That breakdown where it went to just drums and bass, that was nice. Layering in guitar 1, really nice. Actually, I would call that guitar 2, actually. It was a little more in the background than guitar 1 would be. So adding in guitar 2, staggered entrance. A little bit later, guitar 1 entered, staggered entrance. And now, one of the guitars, I believe is guitar 1, is going into what I think might be a solo section. This is what it sounds like. So let's see if I'm right about that. Going back into the main riff. Okay, pretty simple from a chordal structure standpoint. I mean, it's an ascending, minor scale. Do, 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 1, 2, minor 3, 4. I mean, it's not hard. It's just moving the chords up, following that pattern. But effective. It is effective. It got the job done. That's for sure. I don't know if I would call that a solo necessarily. I mean, I guess maybe by definition it'd be a guitar solo. I don't know. I guess we could go with that. I mean, it was all right. It was okay. Nothing impressive, but I mean, it sounded good. It fit the song, and that's ultimately what you want. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I already have pretty much my score in mind already. I already have an idea of how I'm going to score this. So, let's finish this out, and we'll get to the review, and we'll talk about it.
You turned out, wasted time. Me escape me. still right.
That's all it is. It's just 1, 2, 3. It's just a triplet subdivision. Something so simple, but because they put such an accent on it, it made it feel different than just standard triplet subdivision. Interesting. Yeah, I've already got my score in mind. I'll see you in the review. We'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was Helmet with a tune called Turned Out. This was a request from Firdaus, and this was actually Firdaus' prioritized request for the month of May for being a silver tier member on the Patreon page. So, there you go, Firdaus. Hope you enjoyed the show. On a scale of 1 to 10, I am going to give that a 7.6. Yep, 7.6. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Okay. This song has to be divided into two things. There is the chordal structure, the melodic lines, and everything else that has to do with the melodies, counter melodies, harmonies, and chords and chordal patterns within the song. And then there is the subdivision work, okay? We're going to talk about everything else first before we get to the subdivisions. Now, you take the subdivisions out of the table, okay? Honestly, this score is looking at like a 7.2, maybe 7.1. It's a really good song nonetheless. You know, it's a really good song no matter what. It doesn't matter if it's a 7.1 or a 7.6. It is a really good song. They all fall into that really good scale. So, it doesn't matter because it's a really good score no matter what. The chordal structure was fine. It was simple, but it was effective. And like I've always said on this channel, simple can be effective when it's done properly. And this was done properly. It wasn't hidden. It wasn't trying to be anything it wasn't meant to be. They weren't sitting there trying to be Dream Theater. They weren't sitting there trying to be Rush. No, they were being themselves. And the chordal patterns reflected that. It's a pretty simple song from a chordal structure standpoint. The melodic lines they had going in there were nice, especially coming in with the vocals. The vocal style on this fit like a glove. Got no issues with that. The guitar tone sounded really good. I got no issue with the guitar tone at all. Bass. I could hear the bass. I could. I think the tone was a little muddy, if I'm being honest. I would have maybe heard a little more high end on the bass. Give it a little more of an attack. That would have been nice to hear. But it still sounded good. Now, having said all that, what made this song for me more than anything else was the subdivision work, especially in that first verse. In that first verse, I was having a little bit of a tough time staying on 4. I knew it was 4/4. I knew it was, but I'm not gonna lie, man. The way that they were subdividing, it felt like at points, it felt like either 7/8 or like 15/16, where it was. The next measure was starting right before 1, but it wasn't. It wasn't actually doing that. That was a direct result of all the great subdivision work that was happening. This entire song was in 4/4. It really was. And I wasn't 100% sure about that. So before I started my review, I went and I checked. I went and looked to see if I could find. I did a Google search. And sure enough, everybody's in conclusion of the same thing. It's 4/4 time across the board. The entire song. It never actually changed. So that means that was some really nice subdivision work. Because I'll be honest with you guys, it threw me off a little bit. It did. So kudos to Helmet for being able to pull off some amazing subdivisions like that got me so wrapped up into it to the point where I almost got lost. It almost got me. So kudos to them. Absolutely kudos to them. And that's why it moved from like a 7.1 up to like a 7.6. The subdivision work was fantastic. And I loved how rock solid they were with it. There was no guesswork as far as where they were going to come in. They knew exactly where they were coming in. There was no, because there was a pattern. A lot of times, bands will try to get crazy with the subdivisions and they'll just try to make it fit. And they won't worry about a pattern. They're just trying to be as fancy as possible, and they'll just shoehorn it all in, and they'll go, yeah, that works. That makes sense. Whereas with this band, there was a pattern. There was a pattern. And I found it right towards the end there. They had that triplet feel. And it didn't feel like a triplet feel at first. But as it got softer, I was like, that's how they did it. It was the attacks. The attacks on that triplet feel made it so it didn't sound exactly straight like a triplet feel would feel. It felt off. It felt like it was like downbeat of one, on the of one E and of one, and then on the and of two is what it felt like. Which I know that actually does translate out to a triplet feel, but it didn't feel like a triplet feel though. It felt more awkward than that because of the way that they were attacking it and having the emphasis of the attack on each beat, and it felt really good. When you really think about it, it felt awkward at first, but once you lock into it, it feels really good. It does. So that's why they're getting the 7.6. It's an easy song. It's a fairly simple song, but those subdivisions definitely sold it for me. I dug those subdivisions, and that is why it's getting the 7.6. So 7.6, final score. I have spoken. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hope you have enjoyed the show. Hopefully I was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, then I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for tonight, folks. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.